That Car Show is brought to you by Sheffield Watches. We all love Sheffield Watches, and we know you do too. We, of course, just got back from Monterey Car Week, and we saw Sheffield Watches on lots of wrists. The Sheffield Watch brand has a long and storied history, but it was revived a couple of years back by our good friend and true car guy, Jay Turkbus. Jay had been gifted a Sheffield watch by his parents when he was a kid, and he still has it to this day. Jay wanted to make that same experience available to all of us, a reasonably priced, high-quality watch that'll endure. From divers' watches to watches designed for travel to collaborations with automotive pals like Spike Ferriston and Jay Leno, Sheffield has a watch for you. Find your own Sheffield watch at sheffieldwatches.com and at Sheffield_allsport_watches on Instagram. And let Jay know you heard about Sheffield Watches on That Car Show. It was very Swedish Children of the Corn is what I'm getting at. Tonight, we're fresh off of Car Week, and we're coming in hot. The good, the bad, and really was all good, much of it very good, the funny and the surreal. Car Week didn't disappoint, and while we never did find any roof underwear, we do have stories. Oh, so many stories. It's That Car Show. It is That Car Show. What's up, guys?
How are you?
Hey.
Still recovering. Hell of a
Same.
car week. In the very best way.
Yeah, the best problem to have, but yeah, I think we're all still half there because it was such an amazing week.
I'm already looking forward to next year, and I'm still recovering from this.
Right.
But, man.
Yeah, we're not even a week out.
No, this was my second. Dan, this was how many for you?
Probably half as many as Lindsay, I reckon, probably 5 or 6.
Lindsay, I think this is the number 33 for you.
Right? Which is weird because I'm only 22, but don't think too hard about it.
There was a few years where they did 2 a year, right?
Yeah.
right,
So
that's
you
right,
rack them
that's
up more quickly. Exactly.
That's right.
So then if you skip, you don't drop your numbers either.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm still processing it all. While we were at Car Week, me and my little gang, and if you've never been to Car Week, you sort of end up hanging out with the people that you stay with for the most part, right? And obviously, Dan, you were there doing work stuff. But so while we crossed paths, we didn't spend most of our time together. So we kind of each had our own adventures and wanted to talk about those a little bit today. I know we had some highlights, really no lowlights. I don't think it was just kind of degrees of amazingness, like it was last year.
Well, and I was sort of marveling at that once we were back, once we had all left the Monterey area, was how little we actually saw each other in person.
Yeah.
And I think that really illustrates Car Week if you haven't been there, because we all had different schedules. And so there's so much going on. We all had different schedules that even the fact that we do the podcast together, we kept, bumping into each other spontaneously, momentarily.
Yeah.
And it was like, high five and, hey, I'll see you on Riverside on Thursday. We can catch up.
Yeah. I mean, that's just kind of how it is, And then, Dan, you had all your other stuff going on, so I don't know how you did it, but should we go down the list?
Week.
Yeah,
but
really.
I didn't see you, Ryan, till maybe the past. No, did I see you on Thursday night?
What was Thursday?
I know Lindsay I saw Thursday morning.
Oh,
climbing into a Land Rover.
That's right.
Right. Ryan,
well, and
when
that's
did I see?
Even funnier. I had seen Ryan right before I saw you, and you two never saw each other.
No.
At that event. Yeah.
And to clarify, that was the Tour de Pebble, right? Which is this. So it's all the cars, or most of the cars that are on the lawn at the Concours d'Elegance. They drive. It's the 17-mile drive. I was just a spectator.
It's up the Highway 1, I think. This is what we did because we were along the coast. So the formal name is the Pebble Beach Tour d'Elegance.
Okay.
And it's anyone who is exhibiting a car on the lawn on Sunday and wants to drive their car, and it's about an hour and a half round trip. And if they drive their car in this rally on Thursday, then if it gets down to it during the judging on Sunday, and there's a tie between two cars in the class or in the whatever, the cars that have participated and driven in the rally get an extra point. So often it's a tiebreaker.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting as well that you were in a vintage Range Rover. In that group of, I'm sorry, Land Rover rather, vintage Land Rover. In that group of vintage Land Rovers weren't necessarily being shown on the lawn, but they were part of, I guess, the larger event. But I think it was probably no coincidence that they ran those after all the other cars.
We were we were all thinking maybe we were towards the back, but we ended up being kind of in the middle.
Oh, really?
And the cars, they had some additional cars that didn't do the tour, but all the cars that did the tour they were on the lawn on Sunday.
Okay.
And I was very lucky. I got to ride in, it was a 1998 Defender 110, and it was the one that was used by the U.S. team in the penultimate Camel Trophy
How cool
rally.
is that?
So you weren't breaking down because that was like jungle proof.
Right. It had to be, right? They started
California's
in
got
Chile
nothing.
and they ended in Argentina for that rally.
Yeah,
But
wow,
I mean, all of the Land Rovers that participated in the tour have this tremendous overlanding history one way or another. And they were all like preservation class, basically unrestored.
Yeah.
A lot of them were private owners. But what was remarkable for me was how comfortable it was. Like we all kept remarking, this is delightful. And you might not expect that.
Considering some of the vehicles were steam powered or made out of wood or,
Right. Yeah, that
doing
Toscano Suiza one.
Oh, I mean, it was incredible. Ended up winning it all, right? But
Yeah.
But we should backtrack because I think the week at least started for me with Motorlux, and that was the night before. And so Motorlux, if you don't know, is put on by our friends at Haggerty. So it's this social event. It's this great party at the what do they call it? The Jet Center
Monterey Jet
in
Center.
Monterey, right? Where we all flew in, right?
Right.
And they transform this runway, these taxiways into the event. But there's also the broader auctions that are going on. And it's kind of like it's kind of like the opening bell to everything, right? So it's a great event. They have these food stations, drink stations. You run into all kinds of folks there, and it was a very good time.
It is a who's who, if ever there was one, for sure.
It is a who's who, yeah. And it gets a little tougher as the night goes on because it gets darker and people drink more. But it's a fantastic event. So we all came out of that going into Thursday for the tour and all the other things that went on. But Thursday was kind of a chill day, right, compared to the days that would follow.
It depends. I think it depends on what your schedule was.
Yeah. Well, what else did you do on Thursday?
Thursday, I went to the track after the tour.
Oh, wow.
And then Range Rover had a reveal. They did a one-of-one called the Asilomar, and it was a tribute to the Monterey Bay. And so they revealed that Thursday evening. So it was a very Rover day for me.
So you're a pro, though. Yeah, you've been doing this for a minute, and some of us.
Did you get a fragrance?
I didn't, but I did end up with something
with
else
a Range Rover.
Yes. Funny enough, I brought the Asilomar home in my suitcase. Thank you for asking.
Well, it's I went to the Range Rover house as they were setting up earlier in the day.
Yeah,
and they had an English lady who apparently the biggest selling or the fastest trajectory in terms of products right now for fragrances are in-car smells. So forget your Christmas trees or your magic, lights and stuff. These are curated smells for your cars. So this lady was telling me through the story, and because Range Rover partnered with them, we got a free package of it.
Wow.
So they've curated from around the world these different experiences, and they put them through a diffuser, which you can either hang from your wing mirror, your rearview mirror, or you can plug into your air vents.
Cigarette lighter.
And essentially you can have your car smelling. And apparently it's so popular that these billionaires will ship these kits to their cars around the world, so all their cars smell the same. So anyway, that was a Range Rover Land Rover house thing that was quite cool. It wasn't as cool as that car, which they were auctioning. So you couldn't put a price on it because it was a one of one. They were accepting bids over the weekend, and the person who bid the highest was going home with it.
That's right. And it was part of the proceeds are benefiting the Monterey Bay, I think, preservation group, and I
That's funny. The
apologize for
sales
not
guy didn't
remembering
tell me that bit.
their full name.
Perhaps he just thought I
Part
couldn't
of the
afford it.
money,
So,
part
yeah,
of the
that's
money
good.
is going to that. But I thought, and yeah, I saw on Instagram that you had gotten to see the car too. I mean, this is how little we saw each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think one of the coolest things about the car was the attention to detail in the seat fabric and upholstery. And part of the seats, they had designed it to look like the crashing waves. And so it had shimmering threads in the fabric and, kind of variegated. And it was beautiful. But it was really interesting to hear about that attention to detail. And then the way they had done the paint, it was sort of an ombre, darker blue, lighter blue to, again, like indicate and sort of be tribute to the waters of the Monterey Bay. And really unique.
Did you say ombre?
I did.
They should have called it the ombre.
They could. They should have asked us.
What happened to
Next
that
year-
Ford position looking for the nomenclature specialist?
Right.
I'll tell you what happened. I clicked on it today. I was going to apply, and it's closed. So there goes that dream.
Wow.
So congratulations to the new nomenclature expert at Ford.
right.
We'd love to have you join us.
That's right. I can't wait to hear what you come up with.
Right.
Oh,
That
man.
Silomar is taken, just so we're clear.
The Asilomar.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. It's the bay, isn't it?
Oh,
I'm
that's the bay
assuming-
itself. Okay.
It's the name of the bay.
The name of the bay. Okay.
I didn't
now
know
you
that.
know.
Yeah,
you
Silomar
know.
Bay, I think.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah, it was beautiful. And it was all blue, like with the exception of the white porcelain part of the door cards was white porcelain, but the rest of it was all different shades of blue.
And if you want to see a video of it, it's on my Instagram.
Okay.
That's right.
What's your Instagram, Dan, just in case people don't know?
Range Rover for hire at D9NNYP.
There you go. There you go. I think that night was also the Avance party. Some of us made
That's
it, some
right.
of us didn't. I ended up getting together for dinner with our local Denver McLaren rep, which was fun. Had a nice meal on the harbor, which was cool. Of course, we went to dinner at a pasta place on the water, which seemed to didn't quite track for me. So we all ended up ordering lobster ravioli. But anyway, the
Well, there
Avance
you go.
party I hear was a good time. Ran into some friends.
It was fun. We saw
Yeah.
the Dicedies.
Yeah.
If you're ever at a party, you want to be with the Dicedies because there
Yeah,
was
you
this
do.
really long line for pizza. And I don't quite know how, but John convinced the guy cooking the pizzas to swap the pizzas for beer. So we managed to skip the line and grab 2 fresh pizzas. So,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands down to John, who played the system and won.
Yeah, and if you don't know John Deisty, he is the Porsche salesperson you want. He's at Porsche Colorado Springs, and he swears he can get you any car you want at sticker. So, not kidding. Now you know. And he can swap a nice...
It's like,
Any car.
what now?
RS cars, STs, you name it.
That's
Yeah, give him a call.
hilarious.
Yeah, anyway, but...
John and Lewis are
but
the
yeah,
best. So much
yeah,
fun.
they really are. So Lewis is his son, and his dad Todd was there, and Todd's a hero
Yeah.
too. He's
Yeah.
such a cool guy. We all came to the conclusion that he looks exactly like a young Roger Penske. I don't know why this hadn't crossed our minds before, but it is true. And I think he got a couple second glances.
I think he got a couple of passes to different areas because he looked like Roger Penske.
Right. You're the guy with the Porsche 963, they thought. So anyway.
Yeah.
They thought that Todd looked like Roger Penske?
Yeah.
Did you
That's
see it?
amazing.
Yeah. He got into Casa Ferrari, and I think it was partly because they thought he was Roger Penske.
They're like, you guys, Roger Penske's here. And he didn't bring the 963, but it's okay.
Yeah. I didn't see him in one, but he should definitely wear a Penske hat next year.
There we
if
go.
he doesn't already.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Really
already
complete
have
the
one.
illusion.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was like 1 year at the Quail. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a fake Brad Pitt.
When was that?
So it was about 3 years ago, and
No, I
there
missed
was
that
rumors
completely.
he'd bought this house in Carmel, and he was just finishing the filming of the movie, the F1 movie, and there was a guy who looked just like Brad Pitt, but it wasn't Brad Pitt walking around the Quail. So all these people were after selfies and stuff with the fake Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt impersonator extraordinaire. it
Yeah.
sounds
Just
like.
there
Dan
we go.
Pilling. Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah,
They're
disappointing.
like, we didn't know Brad Pitt was British. Just go with it.
Well, the next day I think was the first sort of big event, right? Signature event, and that's the Quail.
Right.
And if you don't know, the Quail is really, I think, becoming, one of the go-to car week things. Maybe second only to Pebble at this point. But they're different animals for sure. And
Right.
and
People
how would you
definitely talk
describe?
about them like in the same breath in terms of
Absolutely.
like comparisons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How would you describe Quail versus Pebble for those who haven't been to Car Week? A lot of new car announcements, more
Yeah.
modern cars, right?
Quail
More,
is much less classic cars. It's much
yeah,
more the manufacturers are there with a reveal, especially if you get to go early in the morning, which is when they call them the press conferences. And that's when they're unveiling all of the new cars that then you can walk around and see during the day. And there are some classics, but Pebble is primarily focused on classic cars and, the real true collectors like
right.
examples. I think one of the bigger differences is when you go to Quail, if you have a ticket and you get in, everything is like they really roll out the red carpet in terms of the
Yeah,
experience. There's,
yeah,
5 or 6 giant tents with different themed food. There are
yeah,
lemonade
yeah.
stands, ice cream stands
They
scattered
hand you
throughout.
champagne on the way in.
Right,
Set the
champagne on the
set the
way
scene.
in. It's
Yeah,
it's inclusive, whereas Pebble is different in that way. If you don't know somebody or if you don't have access to a suite or a hospitality or a manufacturer's, tent area,
yeah.
people will bring in like picnics on the lawn and Pebble, but Quail is much more sort of like
It's kind of
feeding
the
you almost against your will.
Yeah, it's kind of the Pebble of the people, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little it's a little
Well,
more
the people who
than
can afford the
$1,600.
right.
The rich people, Pebble, the rich,
Right.
rich people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think what's interesting is that at least a lot of the exhibitors or manufacturers, Myers Manx is there, Roof is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and they have started even having, like, they always had water and champagne. But I know
Sure.
last year, Roof had breakfast burritos if you got there early enough. Myers Manx has amazing sun hats that they've been known for.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, it's like party favors nonstop at Quail.
Speaking of Roof, I saw no Roof underwear, but I did get my Roof hat. So,
Excellent.
I
Nice.
was pretty pleased.
Did you go and ask them if they had any pants?
Well, even the hat was difficult, let me tell you, because they don't just hand them out when you go up.
No, they don't.
You gotta sort of have a conversation and then kind of hint at the hat, and they go on back, and it's a big production. They get it out of the box, they kind of punch it into shape. I can't imagine what they do if they had undies, but I think it's
It'd be much more awkward for everyone.
yeah, and I still mean it. I would absolutely wear those on the outside Roof, but I think it's kind of proof of the accessibility, right, of the thing. You can go up and you can talk to Eloise Roof, right, and the Roof family. You can go up and you can talk to the engineers, the people that built the cars. You can get yourself a hat, right? But that's everywhere.
Right.
You can go to Singer and talk with our friend Seamus, right, and he'll spend time with you and regale you with great stories, right?
Right.
And there's all this like amazing hardware like Roof and like Singer. But then there are concept cars, and then there are like these newcomers, right, with this like amazing stuff you've never seen before. Like, is it Accentria? Is that the name of the Italian outfit that
Is that the Diablo one?
reimagines the
Yeah.
Diablos? Yeah,
Nice.
I know I'm butchering that name, but it's just like stuff you didn't even know existed till you show up at the
Right.
Quail, and you
Well,
can
our
go up to
friends
these.
there, right? So our friends from Colorado Springs had a car.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Joe and team have built
Oh, right.
a super off-road. So think like a Dakar on steroids.
They built it with Romain Dumas, who
Dumas,
drove
yeah.
to eat it.
Yes. So
Yeah.
they had a stand. So managed to catch up with them, and I probably just interrupted your train of thought, Ryan. But
No. And I
yeah.
think they're going to
So
build 10 of those and put them up for sale. So we can all go in on one. But
There we
perfect.
go.
they're really something to behold. And we can get to the Porsche party later. But I do believe that they got pulled over on the way in that car. So,
Well, look at that.
There's
They
a
were
bit more
just
of a
showing off the
story to that.
capability.
yeah.
There's a bit more of a story to that because I caught up with Joe, and we were talking about the car, and I said, "Are you going to come to the Porsche party tonight?" And he went, "Yeah." And I went, "You know what you should do?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "Park that red car in front of the Porsche party. You'll
Yeah.
get so much press. You'll
Yeah.
get so much photography." He's like, "That's a good idea." So I am in an Uber coming down to the Porsche party, and as I'm coming down, I see that he's been pulled over by the cops. So now I automatically feel guilty because it was my idea that he brought the car down. But apparently, Justin had a permission to pass, permission to drive slip. So actually, the police just wanted to have a look at it, and they let him off.
That's someone else I didn't see, but
Huh.
for 5 minutes all car week, our
Right.
pal Justin Underwood from Porsche Colorado Springs. So
I know. I didn't see him at all. I mean, it's remarkable that we saw each other like a couple times each, honestly,
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
think about
I know.
our schedules and the number of people and the number of things that were going on.
I know. Well, back to the quail though. You know, it's always amazing, right? I've talked last year about arriving to Car Week, and I am seated in a restaurant next to James May, right?
Right.
And this year, I had a similar experience where I'm at one of these many food stations at the Quail, and I've gotten my food, and my friends are coming back. My group are coming back with drinks, and so I sort of saved room for them. And this tall, handsome man kind of comes to the table and said, "Well, can I sit across from you?" And I said, "Sure," and didn't really think much about it. And then everyone else, including John Dicey, the people who are really come back and like that's Timo. That's Timo. He's the president and CEO of Porsche Cars North America.
Right.
And then it clicked, and then we, had a nice conversation. Super nice guy. But this is the kind of stuff that happens at the Quail and throughout Car Week, right? Amazing people watching.
Yeah.
And I think Timo said to you he was in agreement that the GT4 was the best car Porsche made.
I did
Hey.
hear that. Now there might have been something lost in translation, but it may have been a
No, we're gonna
Boxster
go with that.
4.0 GTS. But yeah, it's I did overhear a couple. They looked like they were a moneyed couple, but I did hear a man at the Quail tell his partner that this is lovely, but it's good to know that we're worth as much as everyone else here.
Wow.
And that's a flex.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, and
May or
that
may not have been true, but
that is one of the ways that Quail has been evolving. And I've heard people comment, and I know Matt Farah related this story last year, but
yeah.
part of the reason that the hypercar manufacturers, supercar manufacturers, the more modern, current manufacturers display there is because and we talked to Johnny about this a little bit too, but they are able to debut a car and, I'm sure there's some technical definition, fudging, but basically sell out at the Quail. And, Matt heard a couple, like you said, Ryan, they were talking and he overheard them. And I don't know which manufacturer they were at, but they were
Yeah.
debating which colors to get. And they said, okay,
Yeah,
well, this
yeah.
one's going to be this and this one's going to be this.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of that event is the manufacturers
Yeah.
and they bring in their clients
And-
and everybody's shopping.
Yeah, and something to remember for those of us who aren't shopping, to maybe not take up too much time of these folks who are there and accessible, because there are actually people, throwing down dollars, and and that does happen. And I hope that we get to that point where we can do the same.
Right.
But for now, it's a spectacular place to window shop. I guess so. Favorites from the Quail?
Dan?
I liked the Gordon Murray S1,
Yeah.
which is they're very careful to say it's not the evolution of the McLaren F1, but it looks very much like the evolution of the McLaren F1. And that car for me was the one of the show.
Yeah, yeah. Would you think that, and what do you think about it, right, as an evolution? Because I think we all hold the F1 up as sort of the holy grail, like the alpha and the omega, of supercars, right? And I think it is, right? But it's also been a few years. I liked this new thing, but it also wasn't as pure in form as the original car, right? And I think that's one of the things that makes that car beautiful. That said, you can't look the same, and I thought they did a hell of a job of evolving that original shape. But that was definitely one of the stars of the show, for sure. The Quail is tough. If you've never been to the Quail, it's really it's a spoil of riches, right? There are things that I heard people talk about later that I didn't even see, right? Don't even ask me where they were because I didn't even see them, right?
Yeah.
but it's like the world's best like state fair, right? Like, everywhere you look, there's a booth with something cool,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
But what were your two favorite cars?
Me?
Well, either of you,
Yeah.
in any order.
I really like the Porsche Roman Dumas one. Like, and I don't know what they're calling it, but
Yeah.
I love the concept. I thought Edith was such an amazing story and movie, and so I like that they're honoring that and sort of extending the story. But yeah, it's interesting, Ryan, that you said there's things you didn't even see
I know.
because it tells you how much is there, and in a much smaller space, I think, than Pebble.
Yeah.
But it really is like an overwhelming candy store for people that are car people. Because you
Right.
go in, it's just like, where do you even look
Yeah,
first?
yeah. I do believe that car will be called the Lewis RS.
Perfect.
So you heard it here first.
Interesting, because they have an Instagram account that's something completely different. Sorry to piss on your cornflakes.
What are they calling it? What are they calling it?
So their Instagram account is RD, which I'm assuming stands for Roman Dumas.
Makes sense. Yeah.
RD Extreme with an E,
Ooh.
so it's RD.extreme. So if you want to follow them,
And is it extreme? Did you say with an X starting? In the middle?
it's EXT
Okay.
REME. So RD
The
Extreme.
proper way of spelling extreme.
Right. Just the normal way.
Yeah.
And what about
Everyone
you, Ryan?
follow
What was
them.
your car?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I really liked the singer that was there. That minty green. Was it the DLS? I don't even know. It was just fantastic. I would absolutely buy a singer if I had the money. But I was really drawn in by those eccentricas, I think is what they're called. These. So it's this Italian firm. Talked with the guy in charge. He said he would come on the show. So maybe that's why I like the cars so much. But you start with the Diablo, right? We've always talked about like what's the next singer, right? And I've made a case for the R107 Mercedes SLs, right? As a car that it's got a great foundation. The sky's the limit, and as wonderful as they were, they maybe really weren't the super light, sports cars, that the name would lead you to believe, but a lot of potential. They're everywhere. They can be picked up cheaply. Okay, Diablo's not so much, but I think the Diablo is a car, right, that's got a lot of room for improvement. I tried to drive a Diablo a couple months ago. You know this. It broke along the way, right?
Yeah.
And so what they do is they find the I think in the words of the founder and CEO, the worst Diablos they can find, as long as the engine is good, right? The body doesn't matter so much. So as long as it's got a good engine, a good drivetrain, these cars are good candidates. Now, I don't know how many Diablos they built, but it certainly wasn't like the 964 where they were grown on, trees, right? Basically. I can't imagine it was, we should look this up. If there were only a way we could look this up, but I'm guessing there were, a few thousand Diablos ever built, maybe like low few thousand, 2,000-3,000, right? It's just my guess.
Sure.
But point is it's a car that was built in kind of a rough era for car building, and of course the Diablo I think spanned 3 different owners, right? So it's a car that that I think can be improved. How many, Dan? How many?
I would guess, and this is only a guess, that they were
Okay.
built from 1990 to 2001. I would guess in total they made 2,884. I would guess of which 900 regular Diablos, maybe 530 VTs, maybe 465 VT Roadsters, 30 GTRs, and 337 VT 6 liters. But that's only a guess.
You're quite
Rough
a guesser.
estimates, of course.
Well, let me wax poetic a little bit on these things, right? I should probably learn how to pronounce the name properly. But they take the Diablo and all the stuff that we quote unquote hate about the Diablo, right? The interiors, the switchgear, and all that is replaced. They expose the engine in a way that it's visible. They tuck the tailpipes up in a way. There's an artistry there, much like Singer, where things are just done right. You'd be hard pressed to point at something and say, "Hey, I would have done that differently." And the interiors really are one of the parts of the Diablo that are ripe for improvement. And if you look at these cars, I think it's Eccentrica Cars on Instagram, maybe a dot in the middle of those 2 words, but the switchgear, right? The interior, it is basically much like a Singer, what those cars would be if they were built today. They're just fantastic. And just again, as someone, who's had a career in design, you pick up on these little things, the textures, the shapes, they look appropriate to the car, but they're also executed at a level that, Lamborghini of the 90s could never have imagined. So I don't actually know how much they cost. But if the donor car is $200 and some thousand, I'm guessing the final product is not a cheap one. So check them out. That thing really just bowled me over. There was also the Ring Brothers that did that Aston Martin.
That was beautiful.
Car. That was beautiful. Now the Ring Brothers, I think they're from Wisconsin of all places, as am I. So, but they've never really been on my radar. I think they've done more traditional sort of resto mod stuff. And this thing again takes a car, probably one of the lesser appreciated Astons, although prices have come up a lot over the years. This original Vantage that they built, I guess 70s through the 90s. Is that what you'd say, Dan?
Yeah, it was a
Resident
Bond
Brit.
car, wasn't it, for a while?
Yeah.
On
They're
the ice.
Mustang-esque, right?
Yeah.
In the best way. But again, they've taken this thing and completely reinvented it in a way that just really elevates it. And I think that's the test for these resto mods, right? Are you genuinely improving, right, across the board with the
Right.
end result? Because some of these aren't, right? Some of these don't, right? We've all seen them. I won't name names, but these were two that really stood out to me as exceptional end products. So,
Well, and I think you're a good judge because we've all been lucky enough to see, like you said, there are, a good number of companies doing that with a variety of cars, and we've all been lucky enough to see several of those in person, and so you do start to compare, but it also hones your ability to sort of discern who's doing it well and who's not. So
yeah.
it's really, I think it says a lot that those two were your favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's a crowded field, right?
Right,
And you guys
that's what I
know
mean.
this. Most of the time we're talking to people, right?
Yeah.
It's just, we're running into friends, we're running into listeners, we're meeting new people. And so there's a lot of, there's very little car sort of appreciating actually being done, fortunately, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But these are cars that stood out to me. So I don't know. I think, go ahead. Yeah.
No, they do pack a lot into not really that much space geographically,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot, like you said, because we're all lucky enough to know so many people at this point, and enthusiasts, attendees, and we've all gotten to know people at the different manufacturers too. So, like you said, to have any meaningful time with any of those people and then try and see all the cars,
Yeah.
you would really need a couple days.
Yeah, I know. It's just like that. But
What an embarrassment of riches.
no, it really is. It's just it's turning into, like I said, one of the must do events.
Yeah.
It's really formulating its own sort of flavor. I'm always impressed with what shows up. It's a good vibe. I mean, any place where they hand you a drink on the way in is a good place,
Right.
in my mind. It's kind of a scene. It's sort of become the social hub, I think, for the week, or a great kickoff after Motorlux, of course. Favorite food stand? What was your favorite? So they do these food stands. They do kind of international cuisine, right? So
Right.
there was
Yeah,
a
they're
French
themed.
one. There's an Italian one. I heard the American one was pretty good. Didn't get to it, but I guess they had a mean burger, mean slider. Where'd you guys go? Or did you even make it to anything?
No. Well, I think one of my favorites, and I don't know, I didn't go this year, or I didn't make it there, but the cotton candy. They had cotton candy and
Missed it
rosé,
completely. There you go.
and it was just a little stand. But I think one other thing that is so unique to Quail is and it's not the Blue Angels. I don't know which planes it is, but it's a military jet flyover.
Yeah.
It's not the who are the other ones? The red, I'm blanking, but it's like
Yeah.
the Blue Angels, and they do a flyover in the afternoon with
Yeah.
the smoke, and it's
Yeah.
really stunning. And there's not a lot of car events where they do that.
No.
It's also funny because the DJ knows it's coming and puts the old Top Gun music on.
Yes.
That's the,
So I remember the first time I was there and it happened, and you're like, "Oh, Top Gun! Whoa, wait a minute."
yeah. It's just it's a great event. Look forward to next year. And it was,
Right.
again, great to see so many people who listened to the show who came up and said hello and other things. And yeah, it's just a great kickoff for the week. You mentioned not a lot of room maybe relative to Pebble, but I had a guy, shout out Brian, in my group who I guess had I'm going to say he wore a pedometer, but I don't think that's a thing anymore. He had like an Apple Watch, right, that kept
Right.
track of his steps. And I think every day we were there, which was 5 days, I think we walked at least 6.5 miles each day that we were
You
there.
cover
More
a lot of
exercise than I've
ground.
had in the 6 months before.
Yeah.
So
You end up
sorry
covering
to say.
so much ground
Oh my
and most
God.
of it on foot.
Yeah, I remember last year, the first year I went, I decided it would be a good idea to wear like nice shoes, like dress shoes. And this year I've relegated, myself to, to nice clean sneakers,
Right.
every day. I think that's the move. But anyway, so any other quail stuff of note before we move along?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's the best.
In summary, yes.
Yeah. So that was a busy day because that was also, I don't know if either one of you got over to Radwood. We had Art Cervantes, one of the Radwood founders, who's now
That's
with
right.
Hagerty, who
I
acquired
got
Radwood a
stuck
couple years ago.
in some of the famous Car Week traffic and did not make it. So I'm really curious to hear how it was. I was so sorry to miss it.
Yeah, it was cool. I found out later that it was a pop-up. It wasn't like a full Radwood experience. I had gone to the Radwood event at Amelia last year in 24, and it was a huge event. And this wasn't that. That said, it was still very, very cool. Unfortunately, it was kind of cool and misty that night. So it wasn't like the best for photo, taking and all that. But it was a great event. There was I saw some big names there. I saw Camisa, I saw Ed Bolia and some others. Didn't get a chance to cross paths with Art. But
How tall is Ed Bolian? Did you see this? He stood
Yeah.
next to Doug DeMuro
Yes.
and made Doug DeMuro look short.
No way.
Yeah, I'd never realized how tall he was.
They're both
No.
tall and both much thinner than I expected them to be.
Yeah.
So that kind of caught me off guard. But but yeah, both large gentlemen, and I don't know how they fit in some of the cars that they have
Right.
driven or even own. I saw
Yeah.
Doug driving around in his Countach, and I think Ed was in his Diablo VS, the Victoria's Secret car. We were all a little perplexed when we rolled up to Radwood and we see this Diablo. Of course, we've all heard of the SV, which was sort of a later Diablo, and there was this car
Right.
with that same font, that same script font, but it said VS. And I think the story was that it was some sort of giveaway car or something for Victoria's Secret. Maybe they gave it to one of their models. I don't know.
Funny.
I've got to do a little digging on that. But I believe that that's the car that he brought, and I think won the whole thing with us, as he should. I mean,
yeah.
that's kind of peak Radwood, right? So.
Well, they used to do those. It was like Victoria's Secret's version of the Neiman Marcus, the over-the-top dream Christmas
Yeah.
gifts, where they're
Yeah.
like, "There's one of these,
Yes.
Neiman Marcus Lamborghinis." I wonder if they did that one year because they were trying to set, they were trying to
Oh, maybe
establish that
that,
for Victoria's
yeah.
Secret too.
Just a guess, but maybe in 1998 they created two called the
Oh.
Victoria's Secrets Edition.
Okay.
But again, it's just a guess.
Right. Like if you had to just shot in the dark.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that, yeah, because you remember they used to do those $1 million bras covered in diamonds, and it was like the dream gift catalog or something.
Yeah,
So apparently,
yeah.
let's say maybe in the 1998 one, that was an option.
Wasn't there a car covered in rhinestones or something that was driving
That
around?
was the Valkyrie.
That was
Yeah.
the Valkyrie, right?
Yeah, someone had bedazzled the Valkyrie.
Because if the Valkyrie's not enough car for you, you bedazzle it, right? But,
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, how do we possibly top this?
No,
Rhinestones.
teach his own or
Swarovski
her.
crystals.
That's right. So I think that Radwood this year, and we'll talk about Concorso Italiano, which was the next day, but that was part of something new called it's called the Paddock, which was at
Right.
a place that was called Bayonet Black Horse, which is another, apparently golf courses are everywhere on the Monterey Peninsula, and that's where that was. But that night was one of the OEM parties that I think the three of us try never to miss, and that is the aforementioned Porsche party.
That's right.
Why is that party so good? I love that party. I love the people I run into. The food is great. It's just a great scene. But I don't know, what's your take on the Porsche party and what makes it so great?
I think it is, like you said, the food is great, the crowd is good, and it has a similar feel to Quail in the sense that once you're in,
Yeah.
everything is included,
Yeah.
and I think the food really is delicious. It's high quality, it's
Yeah.
unique, which is not always the case at an event like that where you're feeding a crowd, but
It's
it's really good,
it's
you know,
scallops, it's tomahawk
right?
steak. It's like,
Yeah,
and it's free if you've got a ticket, and
that's what I mean.
that's the best part, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Once you're in, and it's a really
yeah,
fun crowd, and it's a
it is.
cool. The barn location where they do it, the barns at Cooper Malera,
Yeah.
is a really unique venue, and I think plus there's an element of, sort of exclusivity of like, did you get
Yeah.
into the Porsche party? So
Yeah.
it feels nice to get in.
Without rattling off the famous faces, there were some key folks there that we were rubbing elbows with, and it was just a lot of fun. But everyone was at ease. It was cool. Last year, I didn't see him this year, but last year we ran into
Andreas
Pruninger,
Yeah.
GT, Mr. GT himself. Didn't see him there this year, did you?
I don't think he was here this year.
Obviously, we saw some other folks, but yeah, great night. We actually got to catch up a little bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What?
You did.
Did you guys get to see the 963 while you were there?
yeah.
Yeah. But we should probably explain that Lindsay wasn't there this year. And, that's not because she didn't get an invite. It's
Right.
because you got a better invite.
I didn't. I'm just realizing. No, you weren't there. See, it's hard to keep all this straight.
I know. Well, we were all there together last year.
Yeah,
which was
that's
super fun. And I think that was the only time that we were all together last year was at the Porsche party. Because again, we all had such different schedules. But no, this year, unexpected, like last minute, I had a plan change. My whole Friday changed, which I think is also very indicative of Car Week. If you are trying to do all these different events, you go into it thinking, okay, I know what my Wednesday looks like. I know what my Thursday looks like. Thursday night, my Friday completely changed, but in the best way. I ended up getting to attend the Haggerty House reception for the Checkered Flag 200, and there was a Ferrari group that was also there, and that was really fun. Great house.
Yeah.
And it was not far from the Land Rover house, which is where I ended up going next for a dinner with some clients, but also a lot of members of the media. There were people from Edmunds and Maxim, and then some freelancers, and my new friend Scott Brady, who is the editor of Overland Journal. He's the one that drove the Defender that I rode in on the tour. And then some of the members of the Jaguar and Land Rover PR team who I've gotten to know. So I got to go have dinner at the house and, hang out with all of them. And it was really fun.
We should probably explain what this concept of houses is, right? Much like, I guess, Harry Potter or college, there are these houses, generally mansions in the Carmel, Monterey area, that are either owned or, taken over for the week by OEMs, other automotive entities, insurance companies, others. And it's where a lot of the action is during Car Week. It's where a lot of the great parties are, a lot of the media events. I got to go to, thank you to you, Lindsay, the Haggerty House, I think the following day for a media event, and got to sit in with or for a really great presentation by our friend Sasha at Nilu Cars. It was fascinating. It was great. Got to ask questions. We got to walk through the whole design process, and it's I think it's a concept that's kind of unique to Car Week,
right?
Just one of the many things that makes Car Week special.
Right.
And I think one of the nice things about, I guess, being in the business, if you want to call it that, or doing a podcast or writing or whatever, as you get access to some of these things, and it's just it's a pretty neat perk and a kind of cool concept. So you had a good
like
night.
You said, Ryan, like when you cross the Monterey County line, there is like a sorting hat, like momentarily. So I know where to go.
I was wondering who Range Rover were going to play in Quidditch. That's where I was going with it.
BMW, because they were right next door. So they start out, they're the first tier, and then they work their way up the bracket. So,
I was going to say, I hear Jaguars an easy mark these days, but Hey, we didn't even talk about that Jaguar that showed up at the Quail. Like that was the car. That was the car that was in, the buzz was all about,
Right. Well, and
I
it
don't
was
know,
at
many
Motorlux
months
as
ago.
well.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then,
I'm
they had
sorry.
one
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the
Motorlux is where we saw it. Yeah. First.
And then they had a like a design studio in downtown Monterey that they had it on display on Saturday, and they had the car and they had a forum with some of the designers, and you could get up close. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it was wild to see it in person after having seen
That's
all
it.
of the print and the media and obviously all of the discussions and the buzz and the opinions. To walk in and see it in person, I had a
become
moment
an
of like, well, that
icon.
can't be real. Like, wait a minute.
There it is. And it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And it's, what would you call the color? It was kind of a,
Oh, it's like a brilliant, like super intense. So Ford used to have a color similar to that called moonlight blue.
okay.
And it's just this very intense. It's like if you've seen the Range Rover Sport SV, they have a really
yes,
unique,
that's
very intense
yeah.
royal blue metallic. And it was like that, but in a matte.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this almost, it's like almost purple. You almost can't see it. It's such an intense blue.
Right. Like absorbs light,
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it's not a bad looking thing. I think people just, again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I think it just departed so much from
Right.
the design language of Jaguar as we've known it. So good on them. It was kind of like a flex, right? To have that thing front and center, right, at these
Right.
events. But
Well, and it was, there was something, and I don't know what the experience was for you guys. There was something about seeing it in person, and maybe it was because we've seen all the pictures. It wasn't the initial shock that we all had when it first debuted in the ads and all the media, but it was less stark or less aggressive visually in person than it was in the photos, I thought.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Speaking of cars and speaking of houses, I had a funny story. You went to all these houses. Yeah, we got an invitation somewhere along the week to go to the Koenigsegg house. Okay.
Ooh.
Now, Koenigsegg is not a car, I'm super familiar with. I appreciate them. I think they're awesome. There's always the question, Koenigsegg versus Pagani, what do you got, right? I've always claimed Koenigsegg. I've always liked the way they looked. Obviously, they're amazing performers. They're doing some amazing things. Christian von Koenigsegg was making the round at Car Week. It didn't quite work up the courage to say hello to him, but somewhere along the line, we got an invitation at the Koenigsegg house, okay?
Nice.
So three of us roll up. It's my buddy Colin Seckel, who you both know, had a Range Rover Sport for the week, and I've got thoughts on that, which we can come back to.
He toned it down this year, then.
What's that?
He toned it down this year because last year he had that electric Hummer.
Yeah. And that's when those were pretty new. And I think, we had people taking pictures, and and it didn't fit anywhere. This was at least a slightly smaller car.
Yeah, that is an enormous car for Carmel.
So this was a Range Rover Sport, a nice appliance white, right, from the rental condo. It was a great, vehicle to shuttle around in. But so Colin was driving. Colin's a big dude. I'm not a small guy. I'm in the passenger seat, and in the back seat we have our friend Brian Rudin. And if you listen to the show, you know Brian because he's got an amazing garage, and he's let me drive some of his cars to write about for Auto Blog and to talk about here. So we roll up to this house, and you can kind of picture it. It's much like the Haggerty house or one of these others where, it's a driveway off a residential street, kind of tree lined, but it's a house, right? It's not, it's not a parking lot. There's a little driveway. And so we go in and we see two Koenigsegg cars on the left, and then a couple of obvious like rental cars on the right. One was a BMW and one was like a Chevy Malibu or something. But there's really only room for those four cars, right? And we just thought it was strange. Maybe there's a shuttle we missed that we should have taken or whatever. But it's strangely quiet. So we roll up in this thing, and again, there's one way in, one way out. And there were three or four sort of lean young Swedish, men polishing cars and just sort of, I don't know, hanging out.
I thought you were about to say masseuses.
Well, they could have been masseuses. They could have. What I found was
I think
interesting.
we're about to find out, Dan.
Yeah.
They were all like dressed in like, do you remember parachute pants? Back in they seemed to sort of have like these sort of fitted sort of, suits on, like parachute pants, white t-shirts. And then they all had the Koenigsegg Ghost. If you know the Koenigsegg Ghost, it's a ghost. It's this, I think, sort of this Air Force, Swedish Air Force derived symbol. I think the company started in a former Swedish Air Force hangar or something. All had these. So it was I don't want to say cult-like, but they were all kind of dressed the same, and then all had these medallions around their necks. And so we roll up, and Koenigsegg, if you're listening, these are just observations. I very, very much want to be re-invited next year. So we roll up, and we're kind of thinking someone's going to come out to greet us, tell us where to park, that kind of thing. And, the one young Swedish fellow comes up, and Colin rolls down his window, and he looks in, and he sees Colin, and he looks at me, and he sees Brian in the back seat, and he kind of, I don't know, hangs out, over the window that's down, and he looks at us, and he goes, "Hey, what's going on?" And Colin says, "I don't know, you tell me." Oh, no. And the guy from Koenigsegg goes, "Well, what are you looking to do?" And none of us really know how to reply. And it felt very illicit.
Mm-hmm. You're like, hold on, what are the options?
Yeah. And and this conversation went back and forth a few times. It was very awkward and strange, and we had on good authority that we were welcome to stop by any time, that it was an open house, right? And finally, it came out that it wasn't an open house, but we were welcome to park and check out the cars if we wanted, but the family, as they refer to it, was all gone. They were out and about. They would be back later, and we could come back later if we wanted. And we just decided to sort of cut our losses and slowly back. It was very Swedish Children of the Corn, is what I'm getting at.
Which is atypical for Car Week, but that's why you go.
I'm wondering if that's the title for our show. Swedish Children of the Corn.
Ain't no corn like Swedish corn. But it was, I want to say they weren't friendly, because they weren't. I think they were just genuinely perplexed, as were we. And, I'm sure not many people have the balls to drive right up to the Koenigsegg house without invitation, which I think is what they thought we were doing. Or I thought, we were in this Range Rover. Maybe they thought we were, I don't know, the protection for the guy in the back seat. Maybe he was a wealthy guy or something. It was, so they didn't want to, tell us no, right? They didn't want to, ruin some potential deal or whatever, because as we've discussed, these deals do happen during Car Week.
They're trying to divine who you're protecting in the back seat.
And hell, Brian could buy a Koenigsegg, I guess, is the thing too. But we slowly backed out, waved goodbye awkwardly, and we never saw the Koenigsegg family again. So anyway,
and you and Colin are available as security detail for next Car Week. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I don't know how threatening I am anymore. You guys, I turned 50 tomorrow. 50
tomorrow. Oh,
the great 5-0.
Oh wow!
In the sky or whatever. Yeah. This is
happy early birthday.
Thank you.
And if you're listening the day of the show, happy birthday.
Yeah, and I think we would ask everyone should send a message on his Instagram to wish him a happy birthday.
I'll take it. Anything that will lift me from the malaise of what's officially, I think, old man era is welcome.
Are you entering your very own malaise era?
Yeah. I am the equivalent of a 7.2 liter V8 that makes 120 horsepower, right? That's is that what you're saying?
Well, at least you're not an old diesel. That's a good thing.
No, that's no one of those Oldsmobile diesels which would turn off cylinder banks and really be ineffective. No, I'm going into this with a smile on my face. I think. Some new ideas about how to live life, right? Things that, 15, 20 years ago were vanity are now just about staying alive, staying healthy.
Making sure your back doesn't hurt.
That's right. So I do currently have a temporary crown on a tooth. So I am entering my 50s with a temporary crown. Just yet another reminder of age and all that comes with it. But it's definitely a new chapter. I'm writing an article right now about much of what we're talking about for Autoblog.
Look at that.
And it started as sort of I guess an ode to Car Week and has sort of devolved into
reflections on your own
on aging.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's great.
It's a really uplifting read. That's what I'm
It
hearing.
is. It is.
And
It is.
also,
Anyway,
sounds
moving
like you
on.
really
But
know how to party.
absolutely, but thank God for Car Week, right? I mean, because it does afford us these opportunities to live a little, right? And
Right.
you don't think about politics, you're not checking the news,
No,
you might as well be 25 while you're there, right? And it's just an amazing week like
it
that.
is. It is a little bit of it's like the dream week for car enthusiasts
Yeah,
and people that love driving, and it's like we all agree to just suspend reality and just enjoy all of the crazy stories and opportunities that come our way, and it's
yeah,
magical.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's definitely there's a high, right, that lingers, right, for a couple of weeks at least, and
Speaking of highs, should we introduce a competition this week? What do we think?
yes, I think we should.
Just so I think we announced a couple of weeks ago that we are lucky enough to have a sponsor for the show. I think we've got a few lined up, but this one in particular is Sheffield Watches.
Yes.
We've been fans of Sheffield Watches for quite a while now, and actively bought our own watches, and been fans of the brand. But as part of this sponsorship, we actually get to occasionally give watches away.
That's right.
This would be our first watch giveaway. So in honor of our first watch giveaway, what we thought we would do is give folks a task, and the very first person to complete the task will win the watch. It will be a watch of their choice from the Sheffield website, subject to availability. So we'll make our very best to try and get that watch. If not, we'll get a second alternative. And what we thought we would do is make it quite simple this time round. And we'll repeat this at the end of the show as well, just so that if people didn't get it in this first instance, they'll hear it at the end. But what we'd like you to do is follow Sheffield Watches on Instagram, and follow Sheffield Watches on Instagram, and follow That Car Show on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Then what we would like you to do, and there's only two things you need to do here, the follows, and then go to one of the Sheffield Watches posts and comment on it and say at That Car Show and whatever watch you would like. That will automatically then appear in our feed, and the very first person who does that will win themselves a watch. So just in a recap, follow two accounts, That Car Show, Sheffield Watches. Go on to Sheffield Watches, look at one of the posts and comment at That Car Show and what watch you would like. So it's pretty simple, and it's probably the easiest way you could ever win a watch. So first listener, first giveaway, good luck to you all.
That's right. And we should share the Sheffield Instagram is Sheffield_allsport_watches. So go check it out. And I think the pink, I think I saw another post about the pink GT, which I am
just today.
unsurprisingly very excited about.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's
curious to see.
a pretty great deal, though, right? I'm just saying. I mean, you just have to be early bird gets the worm, or in this
That's
case,
right.
the Sheffield watch. So can't wait to see who wins that, and we'll have more to come too. So if you miss out on this, just stay tuned.
Back to Car Week. Sorry, I thought.
No. Thanks for yeah. Because we're at 55 minutes, and I'm afraid. Kind of on a tear here, so I'm glad you mentioned that.
We haven't even done Saturday or Sunday yet, have we?
No, well, let's talk about Saturday, because Saturday, Dan, I don't know what you were up to. I was at Concorso Italiano, which I'm happy to talk about, but you, Lindsay,
right.
were with our friends at Spike's Car Radio for a live recording, which
That's
I'm envious
right.
of.
I was at the Concord forums, the Pebble Beach forums, where they do all different types of panel discussions. They had one with all women this year. They had Land Rover did one. Scott Brady was on the panel. And they, as they've done the last few years, the Spikes crew did a live podcast as well. And I got to go, which was really fun. And I actually had my own reserved seat, which is
Nice.
always special. It's always nice to see your name in
Yeah.
lights, as it were. And this one was a little more sort of exciting and interesting and notable getting started, because Spike and Jerry and Paul were misdirected by the people managing traffic.
Oh, no.
And so the show was slightly delayed. They were fashionably late. I don't know if you guys experienced this, but the sort of traffic wardens this year were collectively, like across the board, less informed and no patience this year, which was shocking on both counts.
Yeah, yeah. I can only imagine what they put up with, so I'll cut them a break. But I noticed that as well.
Yeah, it was sort of like even going in, knowing that
Sure.
Yeah, it was fascinating. But so they sent the talent going the wrong way. So the show was a little delayed, but it was especially, we know what goes into a podcast and, watching Spike handle it. He was such a professional.
Yeah.
He had no time to get set up, so he had to get set up in front of the audience and
that's
handled
the
it like a
worst.
pro.
That's the worst.
But it was fun because Jerry actually was there this year, so he
Nice.
came out and chatted with Spike for a bit. And, obviously everybody should go listen to the show.
Yeah.
But he talked a bit about, this sickness that we all share as car enthusiasts and all of the feelings that we ascribe to these hunks of metal and rubber.
Sure.
And we're all, in it together. Yeah. And then Zuckerman and Matt Farah and Johnny came out, and I had seen Matt on my drive in. He was showing some people. He had his new Myers Manx there, and I looked over and saw the Manx as I was driving by, and then realized Matt was standing right next to it.
Nice.
So that was fun. But yeah, it was really fun. They did some listener questions. They did some giveaways. They had some of the Morris Solomon's license plate frames. A couple
I
people
want
got
one.
those, which was really fun. And he gave
we
away
know
one
a
of
guy
the,
though, so
I know. Fingers crossed we can make something work. But he gave away one of those Spike's Car Radio Sheffield green watches, which are
great.
Really great.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, it's always fun to see them. And then got to say hi to everybody at the end. And
Excellent.
It's such a unique car week experience, I think. But they just announced
yeah.
they're going to be doing one at, I think, the Audrain this year too.
Fantastic.
So
yeah.
Go see them there if you're there.
Back to your point about doing a show live. It is a lot. I one of my past podcast lives, I did one at an event called Zoofengruppe here in Denver, and this was up in Boulder, about an hour from my house. I get up there and I realized the power cord to our mixer was back at home, and it was no one's fault but mine, and my wife was kind enough to go back. So I mean, I know what that's like. And then you have to be on, and then you're in the heat and everything else, and you've got to make a show. And of course they're pros, but it's a unique challenge, and I can't wait to listen. I'm sure it's amazing.
Like you would never have known if you weren't in the room.
Yeah.
And it was really impressive to watch. Like you got to roll with it, and they did.
Yeah. What were you doing that morning, Dan?
I can't talk about it.
Okay. One of those. Okay. All right. Dan's doing big things. I love it.
Dan was providing his own private security for someone who cannot be named.
Yeah, I was trying to stop people getting into the Koenigsegg house.
Well, you are a lithe young Swedish boy, aren't you? Yeah,
you guys didn't recognize each other, but
I was supposed to get to the track, but I didn't get to the track, unfortunately, and just got waylaid with work and stuff. So, but yeah, it was an interesting afternoon. I didn't get to Concorso Italiano, which I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
Was that any good?
That was fun. So again, it was at this new space, I guess they call the paddock, where Radwood had been the night before, and I was really impressed with the turnout. I mean, if you want to see oddball Italian shit, Concorso Italiano is the place for you. The Maserati Mistral, or however you pronounce it. There were 4 of them. I mean, I don't think I'd ever seen one, right? There were, like barn find, Dinos, right? There were obviously there was new stuff, but there was amazing stuff. There's a whole field of Alfa Romeos, right? Giulias and GTV sixes, and and you name it, they had it. New cars, old cars. Dan, I know you had an Alfa Romeo for the week, and I want to hear about that in time. But I mean, there was new stuff like that. There was old stuff. There was oddball stuff. I ran into a guy, came up to me and said, "Ryan Barkey," he was a listener, knew us from Instagram, and he won the Balboni Award. Ethan, shout out to Ethan, won the big award of the show, presented by Balboni himself, who then went on to sign Ethan's car.
So Ethan had a
Lambo?
Diablo.
Yeah, he had a Diablo. I think an early Diablo black car, much like our buddy Brian's. So they got to meet. It was a really fun event. I was there again with Colin and Brian, and shout out Dino and some of our other gang who was there.
More security.
Yeah. Well, if your name is Dino, you better sure as hell better show up to the Concorso Italiano. But I think one of the most fascinating things about the show was the woman who was showing a car, a modern Ferrari, on the lawn, while also simultaneously selling exotic cats and possibly crypto. So that was fun.
And did you just take one of each? You're like, I'll take a cat.
I couldn't afford either. That's the problem. So I think the cat started at 10 or 12, and I'm not sure where the crypto started or where crypto began. Wow. But it was actually a very fun event, very cool. I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was pretty impressed with some of the stuff that was there. Again, you only scratch the surface. You start talking to people, but it was really a fun event. And I also then got to the track finally that day.
Nice.
Lindsay, you and I, in a former podcast life, got to actually commentate races at last year's Rolex Historics. Do you recall the race that you called? It was, I think, it
was the Ken Miles Trophy class.
Right. And I got to do the F1 cars of the 70s and 80s, which I know nothing about.
That's right.
But we somehow survived, and it's a feather in our caps. But we didn't get to do that this year, either one of us.
No, but I was thinking about it a lot. That was one of the most amazing memories. I know.
Yeah. There are literally like 1,000 speakers projecting the voice, plus, Goodwood Network and all that. So it was, I'm glad I didn't know all that at the time.
Yeah. And that was why I didn't go to the live spikes last year, was because I was busy commentating the races.
Exactly. So, but because we weren't doing that this year, I got to properly spectate, and I got to make it up to the infamous corkscrew, which I don't care what anyone says. No photographs, no video games, really expresses what a I guess, what do you call it? A feature that is
remarkable. Experience.
You talk about things that would never be built like that now, but you're so glad they exist. And that was one of them, because it's the elevation, not change. Gain. What's the opposite?
Change.
Change is shocking. It's blind. And I had no real appreciation for what that thing was like until I saw it with my own two eyes. And I'm so glad I did. It's such a great track. It's so well run. Everyone there was friendly. It was, and racing tracks, that's a whole different scene, right? But that's really how Car Week began, that in Pebble, right?
It was that in Pebble. So my family has been going for a long time. The first year that we went was 1997. And my dad commented at the beginning of the week this year, he was marveling at our first time going up. And he said, we got our hotel room and our tickets the week before. That would never happen. And we were saying the same thing. It was the vintage races and Pebble. It was not Car Week. To see the evolution of what it has become is really fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, in the very best way. I'm sure the people that live there can't wait for it to be done, but I can also imagine the monies that are brought in and
right.
So I'm sure it's a give take kind of thing, like a lot of relationships, but it's the racing is great, and it's a great place to watch a race because there's so many vantage points. You don't have to walk quite as far as some tracks, right? In my experience, but then I think one of the highlights is walking the paddock, right, and seeing these amazing cars, not only that are being driven on the track, but that are driven to the track. And point of example is we saw this amazing red 250 GTO rolling up. It was our old friend Chip Connor behind the wheel. He took the time to say hello and share with us a little bit, and that's the magic of Car Week. That's the magic of going to the track, right? It's just, you never know who you're going to see, what you're going to run into. The cars, famous cars you've only seen in books, and there they are, right? Being started up, you can smell and hear, and it's
and being really raced. Amazing. I mean, I think that's the crazy thing. And you said the class that I got to commentate last year, Jim Farley was one of the drivers, in a Cobra. I mean, it's the wildest confluence of your heroes and these hero cars and, famous people and people that are car famous and just regular famous. It's wild.
Zach,
talk about flashbacks.
The race that I commentated. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
You just gave me a flashback.
Yeah.
At the Quail, I met Jim Farley's son.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I think he must be like 14 or 15.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he used to.
Yeah.
Just random. Sorry.
No, they have the nicest family.
That's
It's just
also
like
Wisconsin. Do you see the theme here?
we're sensing a theme. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, that night, just to move things along here a little bit, was the also infamous Zinger party. Were you all
That's
there? Were we
right.
all there? I can't remember. Okay,
Dan
Dan
was
wasn't
not.
there. Lindsay, you and I were there. And we actually got to catch up.
I know. So many people there. It was really, really cool.
It
And
was amazing the people I
you
met.
and Matt Farah had actually emceed. They shared a documentary of what they've done with the car, and
Mm-hmm.
they did a tour of tracks in California, setting records at the various tracks, and they made a documentary film. So it reminded me of going to see
Yeah,
Edith with you guys last year.
yeah.
So apparently, a theme for me for Car Week is I get to go see a documentary every year. So I'm not sure what's
I
going to be
missed
next
that,
year.
but
It was
21.
really cool.
Yeah.
And they even took the car through the drive-through at In-N-Out
Oh, I
in the
saw it. That was
movie.
so
Like,
so epic.
well, and I always joke, like when people have these insane cars and they go, okay, but you'd never drive it. Like, I
Yeah,
always joke that if you're going to get something like that, you have to just drive it as much as you can, take it to the market for eggs,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So that's my new, like, would you take it through the drive-through at In-N-Out?
Has your GT4
Yes.
been through the drive-through, Lindsay?
Not yet because it hasn't been near an In-N-Out.
Squad goals. Squad goals.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
well, Zinger famously, and we talked about this the last time we talked about Car Week, had this this Area 21. The car's called the 21 something or other. By the way, it's 2,100 horsepower, right? Which is, that'll get you a record or two. But last
Not
year they
bad.
had this
Yeah.
this amazing sort of Area 51 or what's it? Area 50
Area
kind of
21.
themed
Yeah.
alien UFOs, and lots of silver, lame bodysuits and gyrating, young people, and it was a blast. It didn't have that this year, but they did bring the Shake Shack burgers and fries out again at the end of the night,
Yeah.
which was wildly appreciated.
Legendary.
Yeah, so good. So
Yeah,
that
they did gold this year, some of the women.
yes, but it was not quite the over the top spectacle. I think they really focused on the achievements of the car and all that, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And again, I think as far as like value for dollar for like people that I bumped into, that I met, was introduced to for the first time, or had met before, that may have been the party.
I think it
we
was.
picked up a few potential guests along the way. Got a couple commitments.
Definitely. Well,
right?
yeah,
So-
and our friend Mark from Horace Straps was there.
yes,
Shaheen from Rivian was
yes.
there. Obviously, Matt Farah. My friend
Retromobile.
Christina that I got to do. Yes, that's right. We got to see Romain and Gerard from Retromobile.
Yeah, they say they're coming on, so we'll see.
I know.
Look forward to it.
They're
Had
so
that liquid
excited.
courage, and I was asking people left and right. So it's moving on. So the next day was Sunday, not a
Right.
small day in the Car Week calendar. So how'd your
Right.
days start?
Dawn Patrol.
Dan, were you there for that?
Which is
I wasn't. I caught up with Lindsay shortly afterwards.
Okay.
Didn't get a hat, but the interesting thing this year with the hats
Yeah.
was that they have metal tags, and I think they're numbered, aren't they, Lindsay?
they are. Yep.
So now you not only have to get a hat, but you have to get a good number, right? Like it's
Yeah.
the Colorado Grand or the Amelia, right? It's
Right. Yeah. Seinfeld would probably not be pleased. I don't know what numbers I got.
22 or nothing
With
for
the,
me,
uh,
but
Right. Car numerology. No, yeah, they have like authenticity. They're
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that's I think because of our friends at Haggerty, right? That hands us.
Yes.
Haggerty are the ones
Yeah,
that distribute the hats.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we
And the
got
donuts.
there.
And the donuts.
Sorry.
And the donuts.
And the donuts and the coffee. That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and
slept
it
in,
was-
unfortunately. What'd I miss?
So it was beautiful and it was clear, which is really unusual. It was like the first year that it was clear at Dawn Patrol in a long time. The weather the whole week was unusual because we had rain at the Zinger party, like actual rain the night before. But then it was clear, there were stars in the sky on the way into Dawn Patrol, which was really cool. And I hadn't done it before, and my dad and I went. So we got there just after 5:30. And what's interesting is you walk in, you kind of, wind around the lodge on the road down, and we came around a corner, and the crowd was so big that we gasped because there were so many people there, which is quite a feat. And it tells you the draw of the hats that many people have gotten up and gotten there by 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And what was interesting is how many people cleared out once the hats were distributed too. Like, the crowd really thins out, but
Some
we
hats.
were able to get, we were able to get kind of right up to the chain where the cars were coming through. And, we mentioned the Dicey's. John and Lewis met us, and we hung out for most of the parade, as the cars were moved onto the
Yeah.
lawn. But yeah, I mean, you get up close and personal with those cars, and to
Yeah.
see them driving, it's another like the Tour de Pebble, where it's amazing to see them driven.
Yep.
And it was really cool because as the Land Rovers went through, my friend Lynn Woodward was driving one of them, so I got to say hi to her. And yeah, it's definitely worth the early morning for sure.
So one of the things that struck me during the tour with those same cars was, now maybe not the Land Rovers, not the sports cars, but some of those like brass era cars, some of those Pierce Arrows and Duesenbergs and those, that type of, the real, the bespoke, the coach built cars, right? They run silently. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like
you would expect much more noise.
Yeah, it's a completely
And
different kind of flex,
Right.
That's some what's the book? The Great Gatsby, right? I mean, that's these are the cars these folks were driven, and that was the flex, right? Now it's crackles and pops on your BMW or whatever, but back in the day, I mean, that's how cool they were, right? And
they're just
I just was
stealthy.
so impressed with that, but
to getting to see, that's what struck me during the tour, and then getting to see them again at Dawn Patrol is most people never see one of those cars on the road.
That's it.
And to get to see that collection of them all at once, and then some of them I saw driving twice, getting to do the tour and Dawn Patrol.
Yeah.
And one thing about the tour is that people camp out all along the route along Highway 1. And then at the turnout, because you go out and back the same road. And so people know where the cars turn around. So they go up there and wait to see them turn. And if you've ever been to, if people have been to Good Vibes, like on a Thanksgiving weekend or a big day at Good Vibes, it was almost double that it felt like at the turnout for the tour.
Yeah.
Because people are just so excited. And it's like, you think about how lucky we are to see these cars moving.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Dan, when did you enter into the picture, I guess, that morning?
I think it was reasonable, like 7:30.
Okay.
So got in, managed to con someone into giving us a golf cart lift in.
The best.
Which is always a good secret.
Best.
Yeah,
You just
it can be a
waft
walk.
past all the Gen Pop, like you're the king. It's the best.
The way to do it. But so and got to see quite a few of the cars, got to see the Dicey's or Lindsay, and and then the sun came out and it was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah. It was warm when the sun came out, but it wasn't too warm. It was just kind of a perfect day. It was absolutely good. I mean, that setting is incomparable, right?
Yeah.
It's just, if you've never been there, again, something that's not really captured, in photographs. It's a magical location. And
Because there's something in the air there too. Like really the whole peninsula,
it smells like money. Right? That's what's hanging in the air. It's that fragrance that Dan whipped up.
Yeah.
But it is, you're right.
Eau de currency.
Yeah. Rich people don't sweat.
So what were some of your favorites from the lawn, guys?
Oh, man. I like the oddball stuff, like the car that, if you want to call it that, like the car that ended up winning, like the whole thing was amazing. What was the car with the cow head or the bull?
Oh my gosh.
With the horns that spanned I think it was a Cadillac or something, right?
It was a 48 Chrysler Town and Country.
Chrysler Town and Country. And I didn't even get to take the time to investigate what that was or the story there. But I'm sure it's got a great one. There was an amazing dark green Ferrari, and I don't even know, what it was.
It only just made it on the lawn.
Which car?
Really?
The green Ferrari.
Oh, okay. What?
Do tell.
So I was in the paddock, and they were still trying to get it started, like when we parked up.
Right, because a car has to.
This was like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Really? Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
was.
they were
epic.
panicking about not getting on the lawn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine getting that close and then not being able to get it there?
Crazy.
What about you guys?
Like,
What caught your eye? Because I mean, these cars really are the best of the best. I mean, these are the best, most special cars in the world. They won't make these cars again or anything like them, right? The tech, the the craftsmanship. It can't be recreated, right?
I mean, there were so many. I think did you guys see the class of Moretti's, which I've never seen
Yeah,
before, but
those
they're
are
these
neat.
teeny
Yeah,
tiny
yeah,
two-door. I mean, they look like toys,
yeah,
and several of them were two-tone, like little jewel, they look like living Matchbox cars.
yeah, yeah.
So those were really fun. There was a 68 Serenissima GT Ghia, which I've never seen anything like
Oh,
that. Just so many. I mean, there was a
it's
gorgeous Aston Martin DB2 coupe, and you know, growing up in the family that I did, the Cobra class was near and dear to our hearts.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that was really fun. And
yeah.
there's a Cobra. It's called the Essex Wire Cobra, and I think it's the winningest Cobra, like of all the
Huh.
Cobras that
Huh.
exist. And we got to meet the owner, but years ago, Tori actually found a box of memorabilia in a small antique store in Pennsylvania and bought it. And then when he got into it, so the driver of this Essex Wire Cobra was Ed Lothar, and it was one of Ed Lothar's racing suits and
Really?
helmets. And there were logbooks for another car. But so he ended up reuniting the memorabilia with the different
No
cars.
kidding.
So some of the stuff went to this Essex Wire
Wow,
car.
that's special.
Yeah, and he'd been telling me the story, and then we walked onto the lawn, and I'm like, wait, I was just hearing about this.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. I'm going to the wrong antique stores apparently. That's
Right.
pretty
I
cool.
mean, it's like you wish rescue dogs could talk. I'm like, I wish
Yeah,
this racing suit could talk. Like,
yeah,
how did you end
yeah,
up in a tiny
yeah.
town
That's
in
incredible.
Pennsylvania without the car?
That's incredible.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. What about
So
you,
those are my
Dan?
favorites.
Anything catch your eye?
It was good to see Bruce Meyer with his Cobra, and he won his
Yes,
class.
yes. Can I stop you there because I ran into Bruce a couple of times and he was so gracious. I think he remembered who I was. I mean, he's just such a champ. What a cool guy. He just what a great guy. So thank you, Bruce. Yeah.
And his Cobra is gorgeous.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, it was a battle of the Bruces, wasn't it? Because he had the first one, and then Canepa had the last one.
Right.
So they were good friends and competing against each other, and Bruce won his class. So
Awesome.
Right.
Congrats, Bruce.
congratulations to Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to see the bookended production on display there.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Really
was
cool.
neat. That was neat. Also, the people watching was amazing.
Yeah.
Like it was at the Quail, but in a different way. There's some people in
Right.
costume, some people very dressed up. There's some people that are dressed to sort of align with the vehicle that they're showing, which is cool.
Right.
I think it's safe to say that that Pebble commands a certain level of attire, right? I mean, even if it's warm out, us guys will suffer through with a jacket on because it's
Right.
Pebble, right? It's
Well,
Pebble.
it's sort of, yeah, I think it's sort of a mark of respect,
Yeah.
that you dress up for that. I
Yeah.
think, did you guys see the Hispano Suiza tulip wood? Oh, did we lose Dan?
Yeah, we're going to keep talking there because I don't have time to edit this one tonight. So, Dan, hopefully you'll rejoin us. But that was
I
the
think
car
Dan's
that took.
ghosted us.
That was the. He's had enough for you.
He's like,
Car
and I'm
stories.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's carry through. So, that was the car that won it all. And I don't know
Yeah.
what the story, but it was almost like built like a barrel. It was this wooden thing that kind of had but in like a very handsome barrel,
I mean,
and
it was
again, I don't.
stunning.
Do you know why
It was
the
such
car
a
was
unique
made of
shape.
wood?
I don't.
No,
And not
I-
only was it made of wood, like for people that haven't seen pictures, it was
Yeah.
covered with brass, rivets or nail heads or whatever it was.
Sure. Yeah.
But even the name, I mean, it was called a tulip wood torpedo. Maybe that's why it was shaped the way it was.
I'm sure there was a reason for it. It was epic. It was amazing, but I don't quite know the story there.
No,
So
1924 though. I
mean, that's amazing.
And we got to see it driving.
I can't imagine it's a lightweight thing, But
Right.
there's got to be a reason. And if only we had our guesser here and his Chat GPT friend.
I know.
But I think we're probably getting to the end of this. So I mean, the week kind of there he is.
Hi, Dan.
The week
Welcome
kind of
back.
ends
I'm
with.
not sure what happened there.
It's okay. We're glad to have you back. We just decided we're going to move forward because I don't have time to edit this one tonight, Dan. Favorite cars, of course, then just the experience that Pebble is. And, one of the moves at Pebble, of course, is to have access to at least one hospitality suite.
Right.
I was able to visit a couple. Thank you, Infinity. Made some new friends at Infinity, including their director of design. So thank you for spending time with me. And then I think the ultimate flex is to eventually make your way up to the deck at the Mercedes-Benz suite and lord over all those beneath you. And that's how my day ended. I didn't get to do that last year. That was pretty cool. Yes, they have the best food. Yes, they have the most comfortable chairs. Yes, they have the best air conditioning. And yes, you see the most interesting people up there. So that was...
Well, and I think one of the reasons too is like that is the center suite at the lodge.
Yes.
So if you are there when they announce the winner, there's nothing quite like it because I mean, people are crammed in because it's the best view because you get to see the platform and then you can walk down onto the platform where the winning car is.
Yeah. So cool. That said, the lodge also shares space with Ferrari and Porsche, neither one of which extended an invitation my way. I own a Porsche, so maybe next year, Porsche, you'll hook the three of us up. That said, the big bad, lounge to be in is or suite is Mercedes-Benz. So thank you.
Yeah.
What about you
That's the
two?
way to go.
How'd you end your day?
My day ended a little bit earlier because I had to head back to Southern California. So it was dawn patrol, run around the lawn, and then get out of town, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Dan, you had a drive.
I had security join me for sushi at the end of the evening.
How was your sushi? We had sushi along the way, and I was a little underwhelmed.
Dude, I'm talking about the same dinner you were at.
All right, maybe I will have to edit this out. Sorry, I thought you were with your other crew. See,
No,
this is what happens with
It's private security.
Yeah,
I'm tired. I am so tired.
I think you keep it in.
Shoot. So we had $700 of very, very average sushi.
Whoa.
There was 7 or 8 of us, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
you were there. I was there. It was a thing that happened.
Well, apparently I was there, but Ryan.
Allegedly.
I mean, we're not even mentioning half the things that we did, or places
know.
we ate, or people we saw. That's the challenge.
I mean, we'd be here for 8 hours, truly.
Yeah.
Like, which is an amazing problem to have.
Yeah.
Like, that's car week is just, there's so much.
Yeah.
That's why it takes like a month to process it when you get home because, you wake up the next day and you just go, what did I even do? And then you do it again.
God.
Right, I
mistake.
think that's a show, isn't it, guys?
I think it is.
Do we want to just do a plug again for the free watch?
Sure. Do you want to give us the rundown?
If I can remember. So
I sure as hell can't.
follow 2 accounts, That Car Show and Sheffield Watches, which is Sheffield
_ all sport _ watches.
Once you've done that, go on to the Sheffield page, pick any of the pictures and add a comment that is at That Car Show and which watch you would like from their website. So at That Car Show, which watch you would like from their website. So make sure you follow us, do those things, and good luck to number 1 for our first free watch.
Yeah,
That's
curious
right,
to
our
see
first
what
winner.
they go with. And
Our
also,
number 1 fan.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show, tell your friends, rate and review. All that stuff helps more than you know. Until next time, we're That Car Show.
Remember, always be driving. And we'll see you next week.